So this is Esquire Classic. This is a project that we did in 2016. And the impetus for the project was that Esquire magazine was creating this full issues archive, all of their issues ever from all time, from all the way back to the 30s. And the archive is really great. It's very interesting, very fun to use, very media rich. But it's pretty hard to tell where to go. It's easy if you're just looking for the latest issue, but if you're looking for an issue about a particular topic or that might be relevant to you, or a story that might be relevant to you today, that's kind of tricky to do. So we had this underlying software that's really quite nice. It's made by a company called Bondi, and they produce this archive that is it's behind a paywall, but you can read each of the original articles in a pretty interface. So let me sign up here, or sign in rather, and show you what it looks like when we're signed in. Okay, so now we're signed in, and if I am signed in and I'm on the archive site, we can look at the stories like this, click through them, and so on. But as I said, this is really great, but it's pretty hard to figure out what stories to read when, and there's an entire layer of sort of curation and editing that isn't really present in an archive that's this vast. So what we wanted to try was creating this separate experience called Esquire Classic. And Esquire Classic is essentially a magazine of the magazine, where there's an editor behind Esquire Classic who is daily curating the things that should show up on the homepage, and usually these are things that are relevant to current events, or to a holiday that's upcoming, or sports seasons, or fashion trends, or whatever it is. So Woodward's been in the news lately, so there's an article about Woodward and Bernstein, things like that. So when things happen in the world, there's historical Esquire content that is often relevant to whatever is happening. And the editors are also able to create customized recommendation sections that are organized around specific writers or categories. Here's a summer reading category where we just left summer, so this has been up for the summer for people to find things that might be interesting to read over the summer, and so on. And the editor is also able to feature particular issues from the archive that might be especially relevant. So this is essentially acting as a curated wrapper for the archive material, so that in addition to having access to all the articles, you also have this kind of place to start, somewhere to actually dig in, so that you're getting the most recent, most interesting information. So here's a profile on Burt Reynolds. And so the way this works is that on Esquire Classic we have a page, and that page includes the player that is on the actual archive site. So you can click the magazine player and look at the article. You can even click through to the full issue in the archive here. But in addition to having that on the page, we also have surrounding content. So many articles just have a read this next category, which showcases several other articles that might be relevant or related to what you're reading. They also have a comments section. And further articles, some other articles have also notes that were commissioned by Esquire Classic in reaction to a particular piece. So there's a lot of cool commentary and little tidbits that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And the editor of Esquire Classic is able also to write to a sort of special mini blog called Editor's Notes, where they can run through specific things that might be happening in the world, and how they're reacting to it, and what it's reminding them of. So you have this sort of interesting layer of meta content around what the site itself is doing. So this is a really fun project. It was great to integrate all this cool old magazine content and try to come up with a way that would that we could incentivize people to actually go back and enjoy some of this material, because it is very good and very compelling and rich and interesting. And if it's given to you at the right time, when it's relevant to something that's going on, it can be really strong. Thank you.